Welcome to the Dataflow channel. As part of Fabric series, today we are going to explore Workspace Identity. Understanding Workspace Identity is quite important for creating secure architecture in the Fabric. Workspace Identity is just like another identity. If you have worked in the Azure ecosystem, you might be familiar with the managed identities. There are two types of managed identities: system assigned managed identity and user assigned managed identity. In Fabric, we have workspace identity, which is a bit different from the user assigned identities in Azure. Today, we are going to explore first what is workspace identity, how we can use workspace identity, what are the limitations and consideration when you are dealing with workspace identity. So let's start. Automatically managed service principal that can be associated with a Fabric workspace. So workspace identity are nothing but automatically managed service principal. Why it's called automatic? Because Fabric manage it. You just need to create a workspace identity in any workspace, assign the appropriate roles, and then everything will be taken care by Fabric. It's a service principal, so just like non-human account that is used by application or services to access resources in a cloud. And it's always associated with a Fabric workspace. You can only create single workspace identity in any workspace. Fabric workspaces with a workspace identity can securely read or write to firewall-enable ADLS Gen 2 accounts through trusted workspace access for OneLake shortcuts. So even if the ADLS Gen 2 accounts is behind the firewall, there is a way called trusted workspace access that can be used to read or write in a secure manner. We will explore this concept in an upcoming video. Can be created in the workspace settings of any workspace except my workspaces. So workspace identity can be created in any workspace, but you can't create in my workspaces. Let's see how we can create workspace identity. Let's create a new workspace first. Workspace identity testing. We need to assign a capacity, so let's assign trial capacity. Leave remaining settings as it is. Click on apply. Great. So when you want to create workspace identity, you first have to navigate to the workspace settings. That is in the top right corner. Click on that. You will notice a left panel where there are multiple options to configure Git, Azure connections, and some other details. You have to click on Workspace Identity. Just click on that. And you will notice a button called Workspace Identity. As soon as you click on this button, Fabric will create a blueprint of an app under the app registration of Microsoft Intro account which also popularly known as Azure Active Directory. And under the enterprise application, a service principal instance will be also created. So let's first understand where we can see these options. So go to the Azure account and click on Microsoft Intra ID. Microsoft Intra is nothing but IAM of AWS. Again, you will see multiple options here. We are interested in two. First is app registration, second is enterprise applications. So if I click on app registration, under all applications, you will notice multiple apps. Let's sort them. And you will see there are some other workspace identity created before. Just want to ensure that there is no identity. Of course, we have created a new workspace, so there is no chance. But even then, let me show you. So there is nothing. Let's go to Fabric and click on Workspace Identity. It's creating Workspace Identity in the background in Azure. In order to see the name, you have to refresh it once. So I will go to OneLake and then I will again navigate to Workspace Identity. Now you can see the name. So first important thing to remember regarding Workspace Identity is the name of the identity is same as the name of the workspace. And you can see Workspace Identity Testing is nothing but workspace name. You can delete identity anytime, but of course when you delete it, then it will be broken. You can even recreate after deleting the workspace identity. But in that case, the ID will be modified. Let's go to Azure and see what we have under app registration. So you'll click on refresh, again sort it, and you can see the workspace identity testing. If you click on that, you will see some further data. And we can see client ID, object ID, directory tenant ID being created. In the left panel, you will notice there is an option called certificates and secrets. So let's click on that. You will see three options: certificates, client secrets, federated credentials. And notice there is something called federated identity credential created already by the Fabric. And all of them are used to request tokens. So there are three ways. If you are familiar with the service principal in Azure, generally we use client secret, and in production we use certificates. So federated credential has been generated and that will be used for requesting tokens when we access the resource. Let's go to overview and notice manage application in local directory with again the same name. That is the service principal instance created. And it again has some unique qualifiers like application ID, object ID. Notice this object ID, let's copy, is same as what we can see in Fabric. We got it. So that's first important thing. And why you should know, in case anything weird you notice, you can verify because you know how the whole process work in the background. But it's completely managed by Fabric. Let's proceed further. Fabric creates a service principal in Microsoft Intra ID to represent the identity once you create it in Workspace. We have already seen that. An accompanying app registration blueprint and enterprise application is also created. Fabric automatically manages the credential associated with Workspace identities, thereby preventing credential leaks and downtime due to improper credential handling. If you use username and password, then they need to be shared, especially when you are trying to access any application or service. And when somebody modify the password, then it will break the whole architecture. So workspace identity is one of the best way of creating secure architecture in Fabric, but we will see later that it's not applicable everywhere. But if you have the option, you should definitely use it. It shares some similarities with Azure Managed Identities, but their lifecycle, administration, and governance are different. Workspace Identity, its lifecycle, administration, and governance governed by Fabric, while in the case of Azure Managed Identities, it's governed by Azure. Now, why they share some similarities? System assigned managed identity is again automatic and it's created per resource, so it's tied to the life cycle of the resource, and as soon you delete the resource the identity also gets deleted. Similarly, in the case of workspace identity, it is tied to the workspace rather than resource, and when workspace is deleted the identity also gets deleted. So that's why we are saying it's a bit similar but not entirely. A workspace identity has an independent life cycle that is managed entirely in Fabric but can optionally associate it with an identity. The name of the workspace identity is always the same as the name of the workspace it is associated with, and that we have seen. It's exactly the same name. Now, you might be thinking, if I rename the workspace, what will happen? So when you rename it, app under the app registration and service principal instance under the enterprise application, they also got renames, but ID remained the same. So there is no impact as such. I will show you that. And workspace identity can be created and deleted by workspace admins. So that is something important to remember. And they got deleted when associated workspace deleted. Let's see what will happen if we rename it. So I will just go to workspace settings again and give a name modified. And I will click on close. There is no save button here. Now the name got changed. Let's go to Azure. Let's refresh it. And the name has been changed. Notice the name of the managed application in local directory also needs to be changed. So there might be a delay. Let's click on refresh. And the name has been modified for both. Let's go to enterprise application. And here I will again go to the workspace settings, workspace identity, and so we have saved that ID and it remains same. So there is no impact as such if you rename. That is another thing I want to show. If you rename your workspace later than app name, app registration and enterprise application also got changed. Now let's see how everything works. So first, you need to create workspace identity in Workspace. We have already done that step. Second step is you need to do role assignment. You need to assign proper roles for the target resources in Azure portal. For example, storage blob contributor role or storage blob reader role, or it can be even any custom role that can be assigned to workspace identity. Always remember the principle of least privilege. So when you assign these role, you should always think about the least privileges required. And this principle is applicable everywhere to avoid any unforeseen scenario due to accidental deletion. REST Fabric manages everything in the background like app registration, enterprise application, short-lived tokens. Everything will be taken care by Fabric. Now let's see how role assignment work. Go to the Azure storage accounts. Let's first see how we can do it for ADLS Gen 2 account. Then we will see for blob. Click on that. Go to the endpoints. And here you can see the data lake storage endpoint, which we will use later. First, we need to do the role assignment. Go to the access control. Click on add role assignment. This step remains same even when you assign any role to manage identity in Azure and even service principal. So you can see there are lots of roles here. Even we have privileged administrator roles. Now, what I want to do, I want to list the data. So for that, I only need read access. So we'll go to storage and type blob. You will see spelling is wrong. You will see multiple rows. We will go with reader because we don't want to give more permissions by a contributor role or any other role. So we will click on reader and then click on next. Here we need to choose one of the option. Now, although workspace identity is a identity, but it's not managed identity of Azure. So don't click this option. It's actually a service principal. So default option works for us. In the member, we need to select the identity. So we will click on select member. Remember, you need to search. You won't see in the list. So you need to search first. Then the application will be appear. And this application is the one which you see under the app registration and enterprise application. So we will select that. It has been added. You can give even multiple permissions up to you and the use case. Let's go to next step. You can even add extra condition. We will keep everything same. Click on next and review and assign. Rule has been assigned. Now let's create a pipeline and try to use the workspace identity to access this data. So we will go to Fabric, create new item, pipeline, create. Workspace identity can be used in the data pipelines for some Fabric activities. Now what are these Fabric activities? For copy data, for lookup, and for get metadata, you can use it. So we'll select the get metadata. I want to show you. So don't worry, this pipeline is just for testing purpose. We will also use lookup. So two activities we are going to use workspace identity. We need to create a new connection. So you need to click on browse all. Now we have two options. One is Azure Data Lake Storage Gen 2 and Azure Blob. If it's Data Lake Storage Gen 2 account, then you have to select this, else you can select Azure Blobs. So in this case, it's Azure Data Lake Storage Gen 2 account. We will select that and we need to give the URL. Notice it should be Data Lake Storage URL, dfs.core.windows.net. So let's go to Azure and we will go to the endpoints. Copy the URL. But oh sorry, we need to copy the data lake storage URL, dfs.core.windows.net. Other URL won't work. So we go to here and we will give the URL. Now it's selecting existing connection, but we are going to use new connection. Let's keep a name, con workspace testing 001. In the authentication kind, you need to select workspace identity. Let's select that. Privacy label, let's say it's organizational. When you give the role assignment in the Azure, there might be a chance that it will take some time, more time. So when you click on connect, it might not work. So wait for some time, maybe 2 or 3 minutes, and then try. It will work. Click on connect. We are using workspace identity. Click on connect. And it is working. You can even test connection here. If we are able to browse, then connection has been established. And we can see the data. So it's working fine. Since it's get metadata, we will just select a file and we need to select the field list too. So let's first select, click on OK, and here let's go and select some arguments. So we will select its item name, one more, and select last modified. Fine. So this is the configuration done. Let's go to lookup. And in lookup, we will see use the existing connection first of all. So 001, this is the one which we have recently created. We will use this connection and it will also work. Let's Browse, that letter, container, click on OK. This time it's lookup activity and it's fine. Let's validate. Let's go to home, validate, validation successful, no issues observed, click on save. It's typical ADF interface is done. Let's run it. So both activities using Workspace Identity. In the get metadata, we have created first a connection using the Workspace Identity, and that connection is reused in the lookup. Succeeded? Let's see what is the output. So it's last modified date is 17th of November and execution duration is 1. Item name is text zone lookup.csv because we have selected that file. In the lookup, we will see, so we are just doing fetch first row. Here it's enabled. That's why when you go to the run, you only see the first record, first row that has a location ID, borrow, zone, or and service zone. So we have seen how workspace identity can be used in a pipeline. Now let's see how we can use it in another item, and that is Gen 2, Dataflow Gen 2. So we will create a new item in the same workspace. Click on new item, and this time we will use blob rather than using ADLS Gen 2. Select Dataflow Gen 2. We will just create a basic data flow for this because the intention is to understand the workspace identity. And if you want to understand more about Dataflow Gen 2, I have already created a video on that where I have covered a lot of things. So you can watch that. Let's create a new connection. Click on more. And this time we will select blob, Azure blobs. You have the option of giving even account name here. So we'll go to the, and this time we will select properties data. First, we need to do a role assignment. So I will quickly do everything. Edit. Click on reviewer assign. Role assignment done. For properties data storage account, let's copy this name. Go to fabric, give the name, and we will create a new connection. So fabric pick automatically any connection if you create it second time, and that's why the previous connection got chosen. We will select workspace identity again. Privacy we will keep organizational and click on next. Okay, longer than expected, and it's worked. So we have two tables. Let's just select one of them and create it. it will come something like this. So click on binary and then it will be expanded further and you can see the data. So Gen 2 will take care of all these steps. Right, we can see the data. Now we need to use this option so that the header will be set. Use first row as header. Then it will be promoted. And we will just change this name. So we will call it properties, UK properties we will call UK properties. Now you can do any other operation. There are many options, but if I do that, then it will become a long video. So what we will do, we will just populate this data in a warehouse. Let's go to warehouse. This warehouse, there is already one connection created. Let's use that. Click on next. Validating connection. And here, for performance reason, yeah, that's one of the limitation we have. So we have to first create a warehouse. So let's cancel this step. So we need to go here, space, and we can create a new item called warehouse. It can happen in case of lake house, but not permitted in warehouse due to performance reason. So remember this. I've explained it well in the other video. Give a name, testing 11, click on create. So we have created the warehouse. Now let's go to Dataflow Gen 1 and configure the click on next. And this is another great feature of Fabric, that it will create a connection. You can easily use that. Click on next, new table. There will be other options where you can see the mapping and all, fixed schema, as it is a workspace, not lake house. Click on save settings. And everything is saved. Let's quickly run and see. So we have already seen with the help of Workspace Identity, we are able to establish a connection. So that has worked, but let's complete this step. Save and run. Run started. You can click here to see. It will take some time. As it's create a new table and everything, so it will take some more time. If it's existing, it's a quick one. Succeeded. Great. Everything worked as expected. Let's go to warehouse to validate that. Schema. We are going to use default schema, DBO, and you can see the table UK properties under this table. So maybe I need to refresh it. Refresh. We can see our table, and this is the data. Great. So we have also seen in case of Gen 2 how we can use the workspace identity. The third case is you can even use for semantic model when you are creating any model on the top of ADLS Gen 2 or blob account. Uh, it's again similar activity, nothing special about it, so I will not cover. Let's proceed further. Now we invest a lot of time to create quality videos for everyone, and thus it would be great if you can like and subscribe the channel and click on bell icon and keep us further motivated so that we can come up with some other quality videos, and we will cover all the major clouds, whatever popular: Databricks, Snowflake, AWS, GCP, Azure. Everything will be covered, including the architecture and the modeling. So I've done modeling a lot: dimensional modeling, Power BI, Power Platform, Power Apps, Power Automate. Everything will be covered. Let's proceed further. Now let's understand consideration and limitations. Workspace identity can be created in workspaces associated with any capacity. So there is no restriction except for my workspaces. Now let's again see why we can't see this option for my workspace. So we click on my workspace, and if we go to settings, there is no such option, right? Can be used for authentication in any capacity that supports OneLake shortcuts, pipelines, semantic models, or data flows Gen 2. Let's see for OneLake shortcuts too, because that will be quick one. So we will go to here, go to workspace, create a new lakehouse, testing lakehouse, click on create. So this is the lakehouse. This is the lakehouse. We can create shortcut and table on files both. So let's create shortcut in the files. And this time we are going to use again blob storage. So we can again use the same connection, or we can create even new connection. You can see we have multiple options here. Let's select this option, click on next, and again you can create shortcuts. Shortcuts are just references. Again, there is a elaborate video on this. You can see that. Create. So we have also seen workspace identity can be used for shortcuts. And again, the data will be visible, all the files, even in the news. There are multiple files. So can be used for authentication any capacity that supports OneLake shortcuts, pipelines, semantic models, or data flows Gen 2. Trusted workspace access to firewall enabled storage account is supported in any capacity. That is again a point to remember. You can create connections with workspace identity based authentication in the manage gateways and connections experience for a cloud connection. So there is another option in workspace, I mean in the fabric UI, that you can use to create workspace identity based authentication. Workspace identity based authentication is currently not supported for gateway connection. So for on-prem, you can't. Why? Because everything happened in cloud, right? Fabric and Azure. So you can't use for gateway connections. Connections with workspace identity authentication can only be used in OneLake shortcuts, pipelines, semantic models, or Dataflow Gen 2. We have already seen in OneLake shortcuts, pipelines, semantic models. If you reuse connection configured with the workspace identity authentication method in Fabric other than OneLake shortcuts, pipelines, semantic models, or Dataflow Gen 2, or in other workspaces, they might not work. So if something is not working and you're trying somewhere else, then don't try too much because that is not possible currently. In future, it might be. That's all for today's tutorial. Hope you have learned something, and like and subscribe the channel, and also mention in comment if you want any other topic fabric to needs to be covered. Going to create on real-time hub and lakehouse Medellin architecture soon. Take care of your health, and thank you for watching.